Tonight on Chronicle.
It starts with a love of the cars.
Every set of wheels has a story to tell.
We got our cars from all over, finding these cars in barns and back alleys and garages and stuff like that.
Restoring dusty old cars.
It's a 1955 Mercury Monterey.
We don't do full restorations of cars, but what we do is we fix them.
First up, we all know the kid who is constantly taking apart radios and toasters to see how they work. Well, Stephen Konademitraki was one of those kids, eventually moving on to the family lawnmower, mini bike, and later MGs and Triumphs.
Fast forward to 2011 when Stephen took his passion for fixing up old cars and made it into his living. Cindy Jepp-Jones takes a look under the hood of his dusty old cars.
Maggie, you're Mrs. Parker. Get in there, Mrs. Parker.
The car's been fully repainted, so it's got fresh paint on it all the way around.
This is a 1967 Amphicar. It was called a 770. It is basically a mini duck boat. They say it would do 7 miles an hour in the water and 70 miles an hour on land. It starts with a love of the cars. We're not a muscle car shop, and we're also not a hot rod shop. We're an everything else shop. Anything, let's say 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and some early 80s, we love. If you can think about it in terms of exotica, 30s cars are incredibly unique. Wire wheels, wooden wheels, cars that went a max speed of 25 miles an hour, but were considered, high-speed transportation.
Well, we're big fans of the Christmas Story movie. We've collected so much over the years of the Christmas Story. My last goal is to get a car that looks just like the one in the movie, which is a 1937 Oldsmobile. Scoot over.
So it ranges from there into the 40s. There weren't a lot of cars made in the 40s. The country was at war. The focus was not on the love of the automobile. Then sort of switched to the 50s. 50s were kind of a really rah-rah time for America. People were excited and happy. They built big cars, lots of chrome, and the design of those cars at that time was really about the look. If you get into the 60s, they changed again. Cars got bigger. Gas was a dime a gallon. You get into the 70s, and they started to go with the safety glass. Cars had seat belts. Whoa, seat belts, not that. That's an option. You gotta pay for that, right? Cars in the 30s, kind of 40s, 50s and 60s and 70s were penned by artists. So in the 80s, you saw the genesis of mechanical design first and ergonomic design first. And cars started to get really kind of econo-boxy. To me, the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and the 30s, they represent time periods in America that we get and we can relate to, good and bad. Our customers kind of fall into two camps. A camp where they say, geez, my dad had, my uncle had, my mom had. They had a car that they had a lot of memories in it. So those people that are buying those cars, maybe they didn't have the money at that time to buy, let's say, an old Cutlass convertible or a truck like this, right? Or a Corvette. They always wanted a Corvette or a Triumph, a convertible Triumph, a Firebird, right? So they're trying to touch that. The other piece of that, young people, let's say 19 to 30, are buying these cars now. At Dusty Old Cars, we have about 320 to 350 cars at any given time.
We got our cars from all over, lots of different interesting places that we end up with the trucks and finding these cars in barns and back alleys and garages and stuff like that.
It does get crazy. It does get very complicated. This is the board that I keep track of the incoming vehicles for the month. Each one of my guys, brings in a certain amount of vehicles, and the check just basically says that the vehicle is here on the ground. There were some on this list that came from Florida. Hey, tell me a little about that 69 GTO, Bob. Is it an original car or is it a clone? Or...
We buy or consign, we fix, and we sell. We don't do full restorations of cars, but what we do is we fix them. Clean it, fix the upholstery, put on door panels, weld in metal floors, rebuild engines, whatever is appropriate.
It's a 1955 Mercury Monterey. So we took and fixed it up, new brakes, all the lights work, pulled the motor out, rebuilt it, and it's you can just jump in and go down the road.
When you come to see us, you will be overwhelmed by the number of cars. They're all here, they're all on the ground, they're all ready for you to see. But look on the website first. We list it for sale, we take hundreds of pictures.
It's interesting, every day is different. Usually you work on cars that you haven't really seen. Get to the point where you know where every picture needs to be taken.
People from all over planet Earth look at it, to Omaha, Massachusetts, New York, and Abu Dhabi, and everywhere in between. We've sold cars to China, Russia, all 7 continents, including Antarctica. We want to be the low-cost provider of antique cars. If you buy one from us, you're going to pay, let's say, between $5,000 and $15,000. You're not going to pay $40,000 because we don't have very many of those cars. You can then improve it yourself if you want, or the heck with it. Just drive it the way it is and make those memories in a very affordable way.
I can't wait if we do get this car. I want to enter into our local parades, park it in front of my house with the Christmas tree on top and a big sign that says "Old Fudge."
It's an American thing. It comes from inside, it comes from being a part of the United States, having that spirit, I guess. That's what the cars embody.
This is awesome. You gotta wave, you guys.